Salwete. This video is from 601 to 607, and Venus is still addressing Aeneas, and she has told him to think first of his own family, their family, because Venus is his mother. And now she's going to talk about the gods and their role in destroying Troy, and explain to Aeneas that his anger should be directed more at the gods, not at Helen, or at least he should understand that it's not because of her that Troy has fallen, it's because of the gods. So let's go ahead and read this first sentence here. Non tibi tin daridis facies in visa lacainae culpatus ve paris di vinclementia divum has evertit opes sternit qua culmine Troiam. Let's translate this sentence first. The facies subject, the face. Genitives of Tindaridis lacainae, of Laconian, of the Laconian daughter of Tyndarus. Wow, way to say Helen. The face of Helen. The face of Laconian, or Spartan, daughter of Tyndarus. Laconia is the area where Sparta is, the word for it. So the face of Laconian Tyndarian one, the Laconian Tyndarian one, is non tibi in visa. You got to put in est. Est. Got ellipsis here, leaving out words. Is not hateful to you. It says you're attacking the wrong person. You should not find Helen hateful. She's not the reason all this is happening, is what the subtext is here. So the face of the Laconian Tyndarian one, Helen, is not hateful to you. Or the way is an enclitic, or, okay, which means way, or well, or out, or, just like que can mean and when added to it, we means or. Probably should have had a V there. Or is culpable Paris, or blamed Paris. Paris also got blamed for this, and he is also not hateful to you. Helen and Paris together, neither one of them is hateful to you. And then I think there should be a but here. But out, or I mean said, said, just seems to me that that should go in here. So we got some asyndeton leaving out of conjunctions. But the inclementia, the hateful or unmerciless acts, clementia is mercy, so the unmerciless things, the unmerciless acts, divum, of the gods, and that is divorum. And just to really emphasize it, we got anaphora. Look, he repeats it again. Of the gods, right? So it's not Helen, it's not Paris, but it's the the unmerciless acts of the gods. Of the gods, Aeneas. Divin clementia divum. Hase vertit opes. They are over inclementia. Oh, I'm saying acts. It's really a singular. I apologize. So the lack of mercy of the gods is overturning has opes. These resources, literally, or these powers, the powers of Troy, opes, resources, wealth, power, these powers here in the city. So let's go over that part one more time. The face of Laconian Helen, or the daughter of Tyndarus, is not hateful to you, or blamed Paris. But the unmercy, or maybe we could say the hatred, the cruelty is what Farr says. The cruelty or the hardness, the cruelty of the gods is overturning these powers, Troy, and is staring it and is laying low. Troyam, Troy, a culmine, from its height. We've used this idea of Troy rushing down from its height or falling from its height. Remember, ancient cities are usually built on a hill, so it has this idea of being a high city. Remember the high walls of Rome? And so Troy, they are laying low Troy from its height. It's physically being taken down in size from its height. So one more time, this last part, the cruelty or the hardness of the gods is overturning these powers and laying low, knocking down Troy from its height. Okay, let's continue with the next sentence. Aspice nam quamnem quae nunc obductatuenti mortales hebetat visus tibet humida circum caligat. Nuberipiant tu nequa parentis tis, iusatime nu praeceptis parere recusa. So this sentence has a lot of stuff out of order, and I would take a look at Farr's note because he reorders the sentence in a way that makes it easier to understand. But I'll go through it and we'll talk about how everything's related. So aspice, look. This is a command that Venus is giving to Aeneas. Let's make that a little darker. A command that Venus is giving to Aeneas. Look. And then she says, namque, for eripiam, I will tear away omnem nubem. Now those two go together. I know they're quite removed from each other. For I will remove the whole cloud. And then we got a relative clause here, quae, this cloud which, and the quae is nominative now, but it's the antecedent is the cloud. It's referring to the cloud. Which now obducta, and that's also goes with the cloud, refers to the cloud. And abducta means drawn over. This cloud has been drawn over, or this cloud, it's describing the cloud. It's a perfect passive participle. This cloud drawn over, you guys, you mortals, habitat. Oops. Let's put that back. Sorry. Habitat dulls. And what is it dull? What is this cloud dulling? Mortal visions or mortal sight. So these are accusatives here. The cloud, right, which now drawn over you guys dulls your mortal vision. And then we also have to work in this dative here, to you watching, to you Aeneas watching. So those are datives there. Farr says that they're dative of reference. It's a little awkward, I think, to put those in too. But to you watching. So one more time. I know this is really kind of complicated here. Look, for now I will tear away all the cloud, which now drawn over, or has been drawn over, it dulls your mortal visions for you keeping watch over the city, or watching over the city, and which, you got to put in the cloud again, which kaligat, but actually before kaligat, let's do umida, which wet or humid, and that's modifying the cloud, darkens, kaligat, kirkum, and you got to put in te, around you, which wet darkens around you. The idea that there's this thick, wet mist around Aeneas, and the gods. There's actually you're gonna see there's gods around the city that are destroying it themselves, not just the Greeks, but this thick, wet mist is obscuring their vision from the mortals. So the men can't see the gods destroying the city, but they're there. And thick, this cloud which is thick, darkens around you. She's going to take this cloud away and allow Aeneas to see the gods destroying the city. Okay? So that's what that means. And I would say this relative clause, ends here, that I put a parenthesis there. Okay, moving on. Tu ne qua parentes iusatime, nu praeceptis parere recusa. You, let's underline that, that's the subject. You, ne time, do not fear. This is imperative. This is qua, but since it follows from a ne, I believe it's aliqua. Do not fear aliqua, any commands, parentis, and that's genitive, of a parent. And who's she talking about when she says of a parent? She's talking about herself, right? Do not fear any of my commands. But it sounds a little more dramatic and a little more serious if she says, do not fear any commands of a parent. It makes it sound like, you need to obey, people need to obey their parents. She's making a broader statement in a way, and it makes it a little more powerful and dramatic. Do not fear, ne time, do not fear any commands of a parent. And usually we wouldn't say in prose ne time, we'd say noli timere, but it's a poetic way to say ne time, and you can do it that way. Nu, nor, praeceptis parere recusa, nor refuse, to parere, this is an infinitive, active infinitive, present, to obey, and then praeceptis, their commands. And that's dative. Why is it dative? It's because parere takes the dative. To be obedient to something, okay? So, nor refuse to be obedient to their commands, the commands of a parent implied. So that last bit altogether, you do not fear any commands of a parent, nor refuse to be obedient to these instructions or these commands. Valete.